say something?
Hello.
Okay.
1, 2.
All right. I didn't want to get knocked off, so I put on a little music.
1, 2. 1, 2. 1, 2.
There you go. Okay.
How are you? Hi.
I'm good. We're about to roll the show out. We got 4 shows today.
Wonderful. Wonderful.
We got 6 tomorrow.
Wow.
4 Saturday, and I think 5 on Sunday, and 4 on Monday.
You're burning it up, Todd.
Well, it's an important time. I think it's a very important time, and I think we need to have as much discussion as we can. Yeah, which I want to have with you today. Okay. Definitely, because you've got a great perspective. I think we need to. I don't think anybody really knows what the hell's going on. That's my take on it. And I'm not saying I'm right, but I think if we all have a piece of it, and whatever we spit out with the heart of our intentions of our heart, it's going to do nothing but open code for us and everybody else. So there's some interesting things being said, and I wanted to talk about that a little bit, talk about you a little bit. We got 35 people in the house. Let's see. Let's just run down real quick.
My camera feed is gone for a millisecond.
We can see you fine. You're good.
Yeah, I can't see any movement on me or you now, but that's fine.
That's okay. That's because your stream. It's your stream.
Okay,
your stream's not. Yeah, but it's okay as long as you got the audio.
I'm okay now. I'm okay. All good.
Hello, Evie Anastasiati, Wendy Kirkwood, Michelle Howard, my friend. Long time no see, Michelle. Sending you and your kids and grandkids big hugs. Tom Costel. Saw a cool painting Tom Costel did today. Bobby O'Rourke. How you doing? Maria Ascaruns. Donna Capo de Casa. I should be getting these Spanish Latin names right because I am Spanish. Sean Knight, Alicia Klein, Debrielle, Kathleen Marsh, Annette Foss Mickelson, Gaina Richards, Rebecca Williams. Rebecca is the admin at Soulogy Group, and that's a huge hour by hour enterprise that many of the people used to share that responsibility. She stepped up and done it and never complains, I help her as much as I can, but thank you. Rebecca Williams, she'll be on next week. Julia Capel, Jacob Wetterberg, thank you for your love and support. Morgan Lee's in the house. Jenny Smith, Kamara Ford. Who did I miss? Anna Irina Castanova. I did the best I could. All right, we got 50 people in the house. If these shows resonate with you, please share. And again, thank you for your love, support, contributions. We are 100% viewer supported at this time. Michael Van Patten and I are making some headway on our website where we'll eventually be able to stream from our website. We actually talked to the streaming company today, and we received some very good news. It's not going to cost as much as we thought. So we're just going to put our balls to the walls and do it. Of course, we gotta talk to Morgan about it too. She's a part of this, big part of this, half of this. So what's going on? It's been 10 days since we talked?
Yeah, maybe a little bit less, maybe 9 or 8. I'm not sure here.
Yeah, and it was a great show. I really enjoyed it. We had a lot of resonance, a lot of stuff going on. But since that show, I know we talked a little bit after the show too. You said you got an influx of Soulogy energy. Had a bunch of people reach out to you, which is great. That's what this is all about.
Yeah.
Morgan said the other day something. She said, Soulogy is not a platform for people. It's a platform for the expressions. It's a platform for the information and the modalities and such. And I think there's a lot of truth to that. I've been saying for a long time, Soulogy is not a social circle. It's an energy. And I think that's the kind of vibration I've been getting over these shows. And that's why we're really pouring it on, because there's a lot of information out there. And, disempowerment is disempowerment, giving your power away. Any of us giving our power away is giving our power away to something external. Doesn't matter what it is, whether it's physical or non-physical. So, having said that, have you seen, and I'm not taking shots at anybody, I'm just trying to further a dialogue and create a space of a more wide open open-mindedness, you know? So people talking about the event, talking about a solar flash or a moment in time when everything shifts, people channeling it, people talking about spaceships that are in the sky that are going to come down and pick us up if we need some help. You know, I don't know. What do you think about that?
Well, I think I read that Palladian Channeling that I got about 18 years ago, and I do believe, well, from what they say, that there's going to be a, you know, they just land their crafts on the, maybe not necessarily the front lawn of the White House, but I do believe there is going to be an event. But I think it kind of has to get a lot more serious for that to happen, because they can't interfere with our soul growth. So for all those people that are still growing, that cannot be interfered with. So it's hugely important. There's also the reptilian forces, and I won't go on about the Illuminati and all that, but that's involved in it as well. And then, but I think there's a lot going on. I'm seeing some really weird behavior patterns in science, and also with insects. Lots of insects are dying out. So there's some really weird predictions about global warming in the next, you know, by 2050. So I think things have to happen before that event can take place, I'd say.
So you received a channeling 18 years ago. Is that what you said, from the Pleiadian?
Yeah.
And that involved an event? Is that right?
Well, just, yeah, I actually read it during the last one. I've got it right here.
Oh, yeah. I mean, you don't have to read all of it, but I mean, in general, that involved an event that involved.
Right, so it just says popularizing warships because you have started to perceive the struggle that's been plaguing your planet for so long. We are popularizing you with information so you'll be ready when the time comes. You will not be afraid when we put crafts into your planet. You will be excited. That's,
okay. Let's. This is a good discussion. Okay.
But they also said something really intense that might scare people. And the person who channeled this says, do not tell anybody, because it would actually bring about a lot of fear. So they also said that they would not hesitate to close our planet down if we continue to use nuclear weapons.
That's actually indicative of some stuff that's been written for a long, long time. Some of the tone, to me, the tone of it's changed. The tone of it's changed. You see a lot of human race has done a great job. There's enough people awake and doing enough grid work and this and that we're past a tipping point and all that. But here's where I'm at. So I think everybody's heard of Project Bluebeam.
Yeah.
Or okay. So okay, and I think everybody can understand. First of all, anyone who's channeled, received downloads, interacted with disincarnated spirit or energy or whatever, understands that there's no difference between sovereignty and discernment on this side of the veil, so to speak, as on the other. You've always got to stay in your own power and trust your gut, because you don't ever always know who you're talking to. Okay. I think that's something that most people could, but now having said that, this is where I'm at with it. How do we know that we haven't had an infiltration into from a non-physical, from waves or radio waves, microwaves, whatever, and had some implants, such as the metal that's been put into our bodies that are conductors, and had these messages placed in our consciousness? For
me personally, I think that everybody's individual responsibility is to get healthy fresh water, diet, good sleep, live, near the beach or the mountains, and get lots of. So the more you're focused on health and also clearing your emotional issues. So for me, because I do a lot of emotional clearing, nothing can really come in that would not be a mirror of my wounded inner child or anything that was unresolved. So I tend to find that if I keep myself really pure, healthy, mind, body, spirit, all that for me personally, these thoughts can't come in. And if anything did come in, it would either resonate with a part of my wounded inner child that hadn't fully cleared yet. So I'm always checking in with myself all the time. I mean, I do it through, I watch clients' clavicle and breathing. If the breathing is shallow and I'm kind of channeling my inner child constantly, I'm always talking to Mother Mary. So I think it has a lot to do with how checked in you are with your own self-awareness. And if you are, nothing can come in. I mean,
I totally agree with you. I totally agree with you. I probably don't live as healthy by your definition as you do, but at the same time, I'm fully owning that I am divinity. I'm a sovereign free soul. I'm an alchemist, a magician, a healer. I can do anything. I can accomplish anything that I believe. Therefore, whatever it takes for me to get into that place that you're in, which I do believe includes a tremendous amount of emotional trauma removal. But something's changed. The game has changed. And I also think that there's quite a bit of evidence, which I'm sure you can reflect on, quite a bit of evidence that up to a certain point, we didn't have the control we have. There was too much working against us, particularly the fourth dimensional archon energy and that type of thing. So I think the game has changed a little bit. I guess where I want to go today is always the same thing, and that's sovereignty, and that's limitlessness, and that's transformation and discernment. And I guess the last one would be, don't give your power away to anything or anyone, visible or non-visible. Just because somebody puts a post out and says that someone's going to come down and save our asses if there's a big earthquake or a bunch of volcanoes, what the hell does that matter? If we're divinity, we're spiritual, energetic forces, bodies. We're not going to perish because this physical vessel, physically decomposes or it gets exterminated. Anyway, I'll hand that over to you.
Yeah, I completely agree with you. I mean, I don't have to make reference to it, but when I had my awakening 20 years ago, I just walked in that state, and there is no fear. I mean, a lot of people, they do get caught up in various things, but there's also what the Buddhists call compassionate distancing, and there's always kind of a paradox going on. Like, do you fully engage in the world and get involved in all the codependent dramas, or do you kind of have this Buddhist sort of watching from the periphery and just sort of observing it and not engaging? And there's kind of like a balance between the two, and you walk a fine line. Like, do you watch Coronation Street, and do you watch Days of Our Lives, and do you go, and really involved? Or do you just sort of stand like a monk on the side and just observe and do nothing? So there's sometimes I'll be, crying with people and feeling them, and I'll just work in the real mundane world, and they'll be bitching and whinging, and I'm showing some compassion. And other times I need to be out in nature. So it's really that fine line, that balance between how you work with your own energy, how you get involved, and how you don't get involved.
This is perfect. I knew you'd have a great response, because I guess that's where I'm at with it, and I agree with you. I think the focus needs to be right where you just said. Right now, there seems to be that split. Some people called it the Great Divide. That a time would come when this. I was reading a post this morning. A lady had a dream, and it was a dream of two earths, and it was metaphoric. And a snake laid two eggs. They put in the center of a room. Both eggs open. One was an earth of collaboration and support and equal energy exchange, and the other one was kind of miserable, And so I think that's what we're seeing, and that's what you're talking about. What we're starting to see, we're starting to be faced with this choice of letting go, regardless of the relationship, be it a child, a spouse, a mother, a father, a friend, a foe, whatever. We're having to let go when in based on past tradition or habit or patterns or behaviors, we wouldn't let go. We would stand there and take the abuse in the name of love. But it seems like that's where the power is. That's how we stay whole and holy and clean and pure. And that's how we serve the collective. Last comment on that, I'll hand it back to you. Somebody said expand on sovereignty. And I kind of think that is sovereignty. Sovereignty is a transitive verb. It's in motion. And it's the act of doing and being something. Go ahead.
Now, this movie got a very bad write-up, but I really love it because it's got some very highly evolved spiritual lessons. It's called The Last Airbender. And this actor here, forgot his name. Anyway, he gets it. He goes through this Buddhist training. He gets his tattoos, and they bowed for him and say, "Will you be the avatar?" But he doesn't bow back because he's suffering from self-hatred, and he won't let himself off the hook and not forgive himself. But in the end, he takes back his sovereignty. And when you feel him taking on his sovereignty, you can get a really powerful download, and you can feel your own sovereignty. And then finally, he just beams light, and he just transcends everything. And so this is a beautiful movie at the end about sovereignty and his whole battle.
Yeah, Morgan had me watch that movie. Morgan had me watch that movie.
The sovereignty comes by way of a personal journey. Like if you think about the never-ending story, he has to go through the swamp of never-ending sorrows and then get swallowed up by the wolf. So sovereignty is not something that's just given to you.
No.
And it's not even you have to earn. It's a process by which it reveals within you by way of you forgiving yourself, or the shame or the guilt or the dross or the stuff that, like where this beautiful diamond and all the dust and all the dirt and the crap gets covered on us, we kind of polish the facets of the diamond, then we reveal our sovereignty, you know?
I think that, and again, I think a lot of times, you know, we're using these definitive words in finality, such as sovereignty, such as ascended, such as I'm awake, awakened. And the truth is there is an ing on all of it. Sovereignty is motion. Sovereignty is a constant growing and expanding, but it's all rooted in the core of your relationship with yourself, of your love for yourself, because you can only love the universe as much as you love yourself, you know? And so I think it's the, you know, a couple of people talked about this as a year of sovereignty, you know? And I just think that what you had to say when I first posed that to you about the internal conscious effort, the introspection, whatever you do daily to help you, be it your diet, your sleep, your exercise, whatever. I think that's where this is at. It's not in the headlines. It's not Q. It's not Trump. It's not the starships that might be there or not be there. Because I agree with one thing that you've said as well, and that is that we have a rule in this universe. There's no interference. I can't do anything for you. You got to do it for you. Okay. That's so right. Why in the hell would there be thousands and thousands of starships up there? And I'm not being cantankerous. I'm just saying from a point of discussion to expand all of our understanding. But if they're there, why wouldn't they land? Why wouldn't they've already land? And why would they land in the future? What's the difference? So are they going to change the rule? Are they going to change the rule that you can intercede, but you couldn't 10 years ago or 20 years ago or 50 years ago when they dropped nuclear bombs? I mean, I don't get it. We're on our own. All we have is all we need, you know? And I think that's where the focus needs to be in our best interest on a personal level and to serve the collective.
But they also are here to serve us, so they don't command. They wait for us to awaken, and then we either ask them or we don't. So we call the shots, essentially.
I agree with that. So whether we're talking about somebody who sees that metaphorically as angels or galactics or both or whatever, we do. And we all know that when we ask, it always comes. So that's one thing I think we need to remember too. Yeah. You got a new Hawaiian shirt.
Oh, yeah, I was going to ask you, like, how you doing with yours?
I don't have one yet. I don't have one yet.
Yeah.
My producer just sent me a note.
So do you have an agenda today? Anything you really want to ask or anything you want to cover? I'm pleased I'm on the second time. Am I just on because I was popular, or do you do this all the time? Or
why are you on again? Is that what you're asking?
Yeah.
Because I think it's I don't know. I just follow my intuition.
Okay.
You know what I mean? But no, I think as far as it's just, look, this equinox is coming up. All right. You got a full moon that falls on it. You got the Ides of March tomorrow, which, as I understand it from Morgan, that's an energetic removal of all debt, which energetically creates a huge potential. You've got the escalation of the energies that we've had since at least 11/11 last year. And, it just seems like things are really ramping up. And I don't know. I just, like I said last time, I only trust me and I trust you, my brothers and sisters. I don't trust anything else. I mean,
so one of the things that worries me is that you may have heard the first wave and the second wave to do with starseeds, indigos, and crystal children. And so the first wave, we're sort of in our 50s and 60s now. But the second wave, who are all the teenagers are around now, a lot of them are they still don't get enough guidance and enough help, and they're sort of getting confused with drugs and there's choices now. It's like a supermarket trolley. You can basically go down the new age supermarket information highway, and you can get anything and everything. So they're really being thrashed to and fro, and they can't make any correct choices. I mean, we did things, from Madame Blavatsky and Ascended Masters, and it was all quite, beginners, basic. But I'm just seeing a lot of young people who they sway hither and thither, and they haven't got a lot of direction, and they're quite confused. Some of them, I met a really amazing woman that lives out in the country, and she doesn't even have internet, I don't think, and she doesn't have books, and she's just totally newbie, so she's quite green. But there's still a lot of new second wavers who are just really confused, and they might not even have access to shows like this, and because they often get born into a lot of abuse, a lot of codependency, a lot of alcoholism, and a lot of that dysfunction, because they're here to learn those lessons to be healers. But they're still out there, and they're still not getting guidance, and they're still confused, and they're still going all over the place. And sometimes I worry about them, and I try and reach them, but there's a lot that I can't,
Well, I don't know. I mean, that's a good point. I think we're in a kind of a crossroads where there's, in other words, we're expanding, and our ability to be efficient and effective has expanded too, and the ways and means in which we can generate the positive light, wisdom, courage, love into the realm is expanded as well. In other words, it may not look like it used to. It may not look 3D. It may be back to what you were saying earlier, that in the awareness and the truth and the reality of how limitless we are and powerful we are, we can actually stand in one place alone and shine our light, so to speak, and that carries wisdom, and that carries courage and love. But it's the energy that we have versus the words, or maybe even the 3D actions we take. I just think that, and I think too, these young people. Now I've got 6 kids, right? 2 marriages, all different. One's was adopted. So they're all different makeups. And if I look at the 6 of them as a composite, I got to say that there's some that are right on it. There's some that are a little troubled, and there's some in the middle. You know, I think these kids, they have something, as I can tell, they have something going on that they don't need to explain, or that they don't need to explain and doesn't need to be explained to them. They just, their energy vehicles. I mean, they align with something, they play with that. If they don't, they move away from it. Kind of like a little kid in a playroom with a bunch of toys.
Yeah, I would agree with that. Yeah. Yeah, I'd agree.
Here's a comment from Morgan, and this has to do with something I wanted to talk to you about too. This has to do with that blackout yesterday. So she says, I hadn't talked to her since last night. So something feels really different today. I watched over and over through the night, new circuitry come online, like a new circuit in an electrical switchboard get turned on. Google and Facebook going down yesterday felt significant too. Yeah. That was a pretty big one yesterday, you know. I tried to do a show after we did, and it would have been, I think it would have been like 5-6 hours later, and I still couldn't do it. So
does anybody know the reason?
I mean, the literal reason or the energetic reason? I mean, I think what I researched a little bit, and what I found on the literal side was they have these super trunks of you know, what do you call it, bandwidth or whatever the metric is, or the widget, and they sent one from Europe, and it, I don't know, it sucked all the, I don't know. But that's you know, that's what I said. How can you even believe anything you hear? I think energetically is what's important, right? You know, whether it's whatever it is, it was there to serve us. To your point earlier, that the galactics, the angelics are there to serve us. This is part of our team, part of our aspects.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, there's one thing I'd kind of like to talk to you about.
Let's
and
do
it's
it.
kind of like me posing you a question or posing the question.
Okay.
Well, there's two things really. But the one thing that also, like I was talking about, the desire to help people. And because we live in a material world and we have to make money, I used to go to these psychic fairs, and you'd get, you know, tarot readers, and you get healers, and you'd get people selling their essential oils and different things. But sometimes when someone walks into a room like that, it's a bit like walking into this world. In our industry, unfortunately, it can be just that. It can be just, you know, a commercial industry.
Yeah.
But there's also the love side of it, where, you know, we give each other hugs, and we're authentic and we're available. So I don't know how this community balances out its need for commercialism and its need for the giving and healing through love, because sometimes I find that gets a little bit out of balance. Sometimes I meet lots and lots of people at sort of psychic fairs or different places where they're only doing the commercial thing, and they'll be selling the oils, and they'll be doing this and that, and their vibration is not there. And then once in a while you'll meet a very loving person, and they're behind the scenes, but they're not marketing themselves. So it's a little bit like in the art world, like an artist, quite often they can do the stuff, but they can't find a businessman to market them and get them a show. And it's quite the same in our industry. You get the commercial types, and you get the quiet, loving types that are behind closed doors. So what do you find? Do you find it gets split between commercialism and loving healing availability?
I think that's a great question. And I think what's happened is, and I've been watching this since like last summer, there's been a shift, a slow shift has been occurring. And so on one hand, you have people like yourself who've been doing this for years and years and years. And then you have many other people who are entering a new genre of vocations, which are coming to the forefront, which are energy workers and such. And so you have this old template. You have this old template of commercial, you know. You have, but what I'm seeing happen, and the intel that I've been receiving since last summer from Arcturians, Morgan and I received from Soulogy, is that whatever it is, because every time I try to frame something up or try to do something like that, it wouldn't work. And I have a long career, 14, 15 years as a senior executive, starting many companies, turn around many companies and divisions. So that part of it I understood, but I also found out pretty quick after about 6 months that whole structuring, strategizing, and planning doesn't work. And so, hang on, you popped out. Let me pop you back in. Okay, where's he at? There you go. So
I lost you for a little bit.
So what I'm getting at, in fact, I read a post today by a lady, and I wish I could remember who it was. It's somebody we know. And she spoke specifically to what your question was. And she said, in so many words, for those of you who are trying to make a go of this and serve, don't get frustrated on the commercial side. Stay in your heart. Stay in that space where you love what you're doing and you just do it and you trust. And that's what I'm seeing happening with Soulogy. And I got to believe that's a replica of the entire collective energy. You know what I mean? So yeah. It's not like a big windfall. It's just enough to keep coming. But on a personal note, I think that we're heading through right on the cusp or entering and about to go through a big shift where that equal energy exchange and the reciprocation for someone's efforts from the heart are going to come in super abundantly. I really feel that.
Yeah. Hey, by the way, I've lost your face because I had a technical problem. My camera said it was overheating, and now I've lost your face. So you can see me, right?
Yeah, I can see you. It's okay. You don't want to look at me. I'm kind of rough this morning anyway.
Oh, okay. Oh, okay. It's I would like to. Oh, it's brightened up now. Anyway, yeah, I totally agree with that, and that's also a lot about trusting, you know. And there's another huge topic that I really, really want to talk about. Can I talk about a related topic?
You can talk about anything you want.
Well, I think you and I will both agree that we've been on a wave for about 5 or so years from the book and the movie The Secret, and then the Hicks channeling and Abraham Hicks, and then also after The Secret, the further down the rabbit hole and what the bleep do we know, and then and also the law of manifesting and also abundance. And I just want to say that that's not my bag because I don't work that way. But I just wonder if we're on a roll, and is like, I believe there's going to be another phase, and I wonder what that phase will be like, because it's all very well say we want to manifest la-di-da-di-da, but if it comes from Earth's resources, there's only so much iron ore or plastics to whatever in the environment. That we can make, new T-shirts from China and get them shipped on the other side of the world and whatever. So the problem, to cut a long story short, is that the law of manifestation and abundance has a problem with balancing the Earth's resources. And I'm pretty happy with my needs. I mean, I collect and restore old sewing machines and power tools, so I'm not using new. I'm always recycling all the time. But just this still seems to be a lot of fear around the law of abundance and the law of manifesting, and I've never been into that, because I think my spiritual awakening gave me the experience of just the law of allowing and the law of seeing the present beauty, and I don't fret about how my bills get paid, and they get paid, and I get stuff. But do you see that this law of manifesting and abundance sort of wave that everybody's been on, do you think that's going to change, or do you think people are?
I think it already has, and I agree with you. I never resonated with The Secret. I'm not saying you did or didn't, but I never resonated with The Secret. I never resonated with that love and fluffy light BS. Okay, because we all know now that we have to engage. We can't divorce ourselves from any aspect of the universe, dark or light, if we want to use these human terms. Now, I think it goes back to there has been a shift. Maybe that was a lot of things served us up to a certain point. They're not going to serve us anymore. Yeah. You know, so I think that in terms of, I think this is what's happening. Is what we just were talking about. I think what's happening is people are starting to operate from an adjoined gut and heart and mind, right? The instinct, the heart, and the mind. And I think what's happening is when they hold that space, whether it be I want to be with this person, I want to do this for a living, and they hold that space, like you said, in faith. I think that's huge. Soulogy speaks to Morgan and I.
Yeah, yeah.
You know, I think I told you about this last time we talked, and we've talked about it on other shows. And one of the things, because again, I had put together and turned around and structured and operated a lot of businesses. So I had that mentality of analyzing, saying, okay, let's put a game plan together. Boom, let's go. And it wasn't working. So I would get frustrated. And so the energy or the consciousness of Soulogy told us repeatedly, you just do these three things. And in our case, and it would be maybe different with others, but be together, love each other when you're together, and broadcast. All right. If you do those things, whatever you need will come to you. Not because of Todd, not because of Morgan, but because the energy of Soulogy is expanding by the people that engage it and come with the intentions, because it's all like intention. So it reciprocates. It's like a little micro of the universe, adding frequencies to an ever-expanding vibration. So it has let us know that whatever, and again, this is just a mirror. This is just another copy of what's happening at a micro level. But whatever you need is going to come to you. And anything that's not coming to you from pure love, such as has an agenda, consciously or not, will not stick. And I'm telling you, especially over the last 3 months, it's happening. You know, it's happening. Whether it be a streaming service yesterday that had given me a price of too much and reduced it to 25% of the price, which was allow us to broadcast from our own site, to people stepping in saying, I want to help you. You know, I don't want anything from you. I just want to help you. You know, okay. I think the last thing I'll say is that the challenge is for all of this, and this is just another example. How do you navigate this? The challenge is that whatever methodology that's going to work, or plural methodologies that will work, are nothing we've done before. It's nothing we've done before. And I don't care if you've been in the game for 20 years or 5 years or 50 years, whatever it is, whatever it's going to take that space that you're talking about, that trust, and being in that space of, I'm not going to worry because I trust. And I know that it's going to come back to me. You know, there's no owner's manual. We're creating it. We're actually creating the new blueprint.
That's true. Yeah.
New template. Yeah.
It's exciting times, eh?
It is exciting. It is. And I think and that's why I love having these discussions, so we can expand our minds, not to convince anybody of anything, but to just put it in my head. When I read stuff or hear stuff that makes me go, okay, wait a minute. Now, I can't just say, oh, that's not true. You know, we've got to entertain the limitlessness of ourselves and the universe, to include being supernatural, divine human beings in a physical body. Yeah. You know, I mean, we're Merlin, you know, we're Saint Germain, we're Jesus, we're Magdalene. The only thing standing between us and these things that we would consider supernatural is our belief system. Yeah. It's our belief system. You know, I think we can move. I think we can move very fast at a quantum level. I don't think this 20 years and 50 years I don't think that. I think it can happen very, very quickly.
Yeah, I think we haven't got 50 years. I think we've got like 5 or 10. I think it's happening right now. Everything. Yeah. You know, really, really fast. And I do believe time is kind of speeding up. What we're achieving in a decade or even a couple of years is super fast compared to way back in the 40s and 50s, when
Yeah.
it has a lot to do with limiting belief systems, like you say, when you can bring down all those walls of old ideologies. Like my mother and father in the 50s were reading a book called The Ragged Trousered Philanthropist, and it was basically about the social working class structures of the workers in England in the 60s and 50s. And it's a really stodgy belief system book. It's all based around really old beliefs. And but today, I could never read that book because we've moved so far on, and time is just going so fast. And when you look at what Elon Musk is doing with Tesla and all the new developments, everything is just so fast now.
Yeah, it is.
And there'll be a point where it's impossible to go backwards.
Absolutely. I don't know. You've heard of Dolores Cannon, right?
Yeah, of course. Yeah.
And there's a girl up in Washington State, Allison Coe, that does the same thing.
Yeah.
And I might have asked you this last time, but so they have clients, and through their work they see trends. Yeah. Have you seen that with your clients? Like, I'm not really told. I know you do a lot of clearing and stuff, but I mean, if you engage their higher self, if you get information, how are you picking up on anything, or even through your own communion, your own direct infinite intelligence?
I do see trends. When I really love it when the young people come to visit me, sponges, and they're just so full of light and so full of possibilities. So I think we're really blessed because of social media. I love Facebook. I love everything. I support all of it. And years ago, people were freaking out because they were saying, well, it's going to give them, distorted necks. They won't be able to walk, and they'll be jacked in, and they'll have like brain implants. And there was lots of fear and judgments around social media in the beginning, and they're going to get radiated. And I believe these are technical problems we can get beyond. But those ones that have been jacked into social media and the younger generation, they're just open, super fast sponges. They can take in information. They can change their belief systems on a dime in a day. But when I'm healing and clearing 60-year-olds, it's almost like I'm going back to World War II and I'm digging a ditch, with a pickaxe trying to get out of a mine. It's really slow and hard, But the young one, just like boom,
Yeah. That's what I was saying. That's what I was saying about the kids. My youngest one is 16, going to be 17. But and we don't live together. She lives in my hometown, and we don't talk a lot. But every time we talk, it's pure. There's no nothing but love, man. And so I look at her, and then the way she takes information in too, the way she understands things is what you're talking about. I mean, they're just bringing this stuff in like, I mean, it's fascinating. I think that they're going to pick the ball up from us, and
they will. They will.
We're going to be.
We're just the way show is to lay the foundation, but they'll take it from us. Yeah. But I've also met some young people recently, and I would classify them as having, apart from boundaries, they have zero ego. There's some youngsters, and they just have no ego. They're just like bright lights, just like babies' faces,
Yeah. And let me ask you this. Go back to this again. So, what do you think the energy is telling us right now, on a collective level? I mean, what do you feel that's happening?
Well, I'll go back to the social media because I think it's really important what you're doing and what other people are doing is moving things along faster. And it's just a lot of it is information exchange, but qualitative information exchange, the right information, and getting that loving message out to everybody. But it's also happening in Hollywood. Like I saw an amazing movie called Captain Marvel 2 days ago. I mean, it was a bit of a liberal political rant, and it's a little bit misogynistic, but there's a lot of messages coming through movies, through Hollywood. I've always used Hollywood in movies, just a lot of healing. So it's all happening through social media, through Hollywood, and a lot of people might run down and might say it's, I mean, there is a side to it that is very short term or very shallow, but there's a lot of deep authenticity. And underneath that, I see a current of, like, you know, I met a client last week, and she was mute, and she was only 15, and she was in an Indian community, come from South Africa, and she wasn't talking, she was mute because she was like a starseed. But she was reading the book Black Lives Matter, and she was only 15, and she was watching spiritual horror movies, and she was just like an open sponge. She was just waiting for someone to help give her the answers. So look, once again, social media and the young people, it's all super fast, and it's all changing right now. So I do a lot of social media because I think it's the cutting edge of the world. I think it's where we take back our power. I mean, some people would say, oh, Facebook and other systems, they've got some systems of control, but we assume the power. We take the vehicle, and we apply the information, and we live our own reality within that. So the old paradigms, they just fall off us. They don't have any effect on us, you know.
That's well, I agree. And every yin has a yang, too. You know, so that's what I was saying earlier. I think there was not enough awareness, myself included, you know, let's say pre-2000, you know, there was not enough people aware. So therefore we were being controlled, which we had been for thousands of years. But once we wake up, everything changes. Everything changes. Does that mean that the control mechanism isn't going to try to further control? Well, even if it does,
it can't.
It's going to spawn a creative solution from our infinite intelligence. We're going to say, oh, you know, whether it's conscious or not. And I agree with you. It's what you do.
I actually think that the Illuminati and the old systems and the Rockefellers or the banks or the Federal Reserve or whatever you want to call it, I think they're kind of like biting their fingernails because they're saying, well, the cat's out of the bag, you know, social media, they're all educating themselves. They're all growing. All we can do is try and slow this down, but it's a snowball, you know, the size of, you know, Empire State Building traveling down an unstoppable moving mountain. So they can't stop it.
I think it's a lot bigger than what we think. I think the Earth, I think the Earth is a lot different, bigger in many ways than we think, whether it's false propaganda we've been given or not. And I think that there is a tremendous amount of attention on the human race. Because we're expanding the universe, and I think, like you said, there's a tremendous amount of assistance if we'll ask for it. I'm in so much reverence for the time that we're living in, and just to be part of this. I told somebody on the show yesterday, you know, I don't want to leave. I thought I was having a heart attack like 3 days ago. It was just the energies, and I was sitting on the couch and gasping for breath, and I thought, I don't want to leave now. You know, I want to be here. I want to see this thing through. It's exciting.
And I think the thing that's really changed, that's really exciting, is that if you think about the people in the 60s and even the 70s and even in the 80s that were rebellion, they were generally rebelling in a negative way, like, you know, like the Rolling Stones or maybe, you know, Madonna. And it was always a fight against the system. But I think now we've got a love rebellion where people are rebelling with love and light, and that snowball is, and so they can't fight that, because how do you fight love? You can't say, well, you know, you shouldn't be doing that. So it's such a soft, beautiful, loving rebellion, as that it's impossible. You can't stop a snowball of love, you know.
I saw a post yesterday. Who is the guy in the 60s and 70s? He was a native musician and activist, Trudeau, I think was his name, John Trudeau. And he said that. He said in the quote, he said, you know, the thing I am seeing in this revolution is that we're countering the establishment, but we're doing it from the wrong emotion like hate or revenge.
Yeah.
And he said the revolution needs to be from love. Yeah, it was the same thing you're saying. So, and you're right about
the most important thing is what I call permission, is that we have to give ourselves permission, and we also have to be responsible for our own healing. So we're not just perpetuating the same energy. Like, I don't know if you're aware, but there's a movie called Captain Marvel. It's just been out a short while, but it had a lot of beauty and a lot of love and light in it, but it also had quite a lot of and anti-white and misogynistic, and it had a lot of anger as well. So people are in that, they're in that split between and also I watch a tiny bit of Jordan Peterson, and also the stuff that happens around the universities where the Black Lives Matter and the liberals and the liberal left, the loony liberal left, and there's still a lot of pain, and there's still a lot of that old dichotomy, but there's also the love and the light as well, and bridging that. And people like Jordan Peterson are trying to, and I've even watched interviews by Germaine Greer, the feminist, and she looks very tired. She's been fighting that battle for a long time. So do you fight it like as an activist, like really angry all the time, like, or do you give up the fight and just do your own personal healing and just bring in love? And it's not about blaming anybody. We don't have to blame the Illuminati. Like they haven't taken control over us. We've allowed it, or about the government or the military or whoever. Like, it's not about attacking. It's about we allow and we give permission. So it's about our permission. You know what I mean?
Oh yeah, absolutely. Yeah. It's the dream within the dream. So we're waking up and we can, just like in a dream. You know, when I remember in my early 20s, we all had nightmares, right? And I remember a dream, a succession of dreams, and in that dream, I came across some big evil whatever, and I said, "I'm in a dream. I'm lucid." And I pulled out a big saber, and that was the end of that. And I never had another one again. We've woken up now. So, and I think what you're saying is true. It's absolutely true. It's all about ourselves. It's the best thing we can do for ourselves and for the collective.
It's permission and allowing and unfolding.
Yeah. And all that other stuff is really a distraction. And if you,
are you there, Todd?
Yeah, I'm here. Can you? Yeah. Can you hear me?
Hello.
Yeah. I think you lost me. Yeah. Go out and come back in.
Technical difficulty, I think.
Yeah, you're having technical difficulties. Well, what I was saying to him is he was talking about the liberal, but I think what's happened here is either the extreme, whether we can talk liberal and conservative, we can talk a lot of different ones. Can you hear me? No. So, but the extremes
I can't hear you anymore, and I can't see your camera. So it says that we're live, so I'm assuming we.
Okay. So what I'm saying is that what gets the press are the extremes. The pure light gets the press, the pure dark, the liberal extreme or the conservative extreme. They get the press. There's a huge middle ground there, and that's us. And we're the 99.99%. So keep doing the work. We're all in this together. Hang on, let's get him back in here.
Can you hear me?
Okay,
I'm back on. I can see your beautiful face now. I'm happy that.
I don't know, man. I'm looking pretty rough, dude.
I love it. You got a lovely face. Nice open face.
I haven't shaved since Morgan.
Yeah. So the other thing I'd really, really like to talk about is on this subject is that I said permission, allowing it, and unfolding. And what's quite hard is as we let go of the old system, people still find it hard to give themselves permission to love. And the thing about love that is so hugely important is that I don't know how we do this, but how do we teach people that love or energy or is not this desperate grabbing, like I'm grabbing, I'm wanting like when I'm interacting with another human being, like what can I grab? What can I get out of this deal? What can I gain today? And if we can teach people that they are vessels of love, I mean, literally, we have infinite levels of power. I mean, even Einstein said that in one little thimble, because of E equals MC squared, the amount of power that we have in us, it's really, really huge. So when I come into an interaction like with you or whoever, I just think, you know, what can I give? How can I be available? How can I unfold more today? But people struggle with giving themselves permission, and they struggle in the beginning. They don't even know that they're allowed to, or that that's an opportunity that they can just share or be in that love, you know? Because particularly being a male is a bit of a problem, because we've got all these pedophiles now through all the media. Everything is pedophile this and pedophile that. So as a male, you can't hug. So some of that has been a bit sad. So when I go into a professional situation, I don't hug a client. I might wait and see if they do, but it's very hard being a male in this industry. So I'm just curious about you, Todd. So when you're giving love or when you're interacting with others, I mean, I don't know, is that easy for us? How do we do that? You know, how do we allow and unfold and give ourselves permission to be loving beings?
You know, that's a, you know, all I can say is that there was an imbalance. I think everybody understood there was an imbalance. The masculine had an inordinate amount of power.
Yeah.
With false power, doesn't matter. False power, real power, it's still power. So that affected every single one of us. And if you were, you know, if you were a male incarnate primarily, because of the societal conditions and expectations, But I think that energy of the goddess, the mother goddess, has landed, long been landed, has raised the bar. The feminine energy standing in its power, and now he's rising. And I'm speaking from personal experience. I just have, and again, my life is just a copy of what's going on out there on an energetic level. But I think back to what you said, how do we teach people? I think we're no longer in that linear, we're in this quantum thing. And the way we teach, for lack of a better word, the way we teach is the same thing Soulogy told Morgan and I, which is, you do this, you be this, and everything you need will come to you. And I do believe that's how it works across the board now. And I do believe that something, you know, people talk about a quarantine, the earth was under quarantine. You know, something was restricting us. And it's no longer restricting us. And what I'm seeing in these first 3 months of 2019 is a real see it, touch it, feel it, taste it, reciprocation by the universe to people. And I think the biggest challenge of it is getting used to it, because it's not a paradigm or a template that we are familiar with, at least not in our conscious memory, you know?
Yeah. I also want to talk very briefly about Michael Jackson, because around the world, everybody's stopped playing Michael Jackson's music. And I don't know if he's a pedophile, if he's guilty, or if he's not guilty, but he always had, for me, a very beautiful divine energy. I don't know whether or not he was a starseed or an indigo or whatever, or whether or not he was just innocent and had some children around and they kind of went a bit too far, or whether they didn't or didn't. But it's just like, it's kind of mirroring this conversation we're having. Is just, he was a very loving person, and was he misunderstood, or did we get it right, or was he a way shower, or was he guilty? And all this, I also want to talk about all the pedophilia there's been in the world. Is that I think a lot of men, maybe the abuse of power, but also the fact that they're not healing their own inner child and their own wounds, and they're using that against children in a dark way. But really, maybe they want nurturing, or they just want to be touched. But so
that's some. Look, as far as Michael Jackson goes, I'm just giving my opinion. Anything that receives a tremendous amount of press in this world from the mainstream media, I have to question that. I have to question that, because these were huge distractions false flags of some sort or another to keep our attention off Gulf wars, weapons of mass destruction that weren't there, and all this bullshit, you know?
Yeah. Yeah.
So I don't know. I can say what you say, and I wasn't a huge fan of his music, but his energy and his message, absolutely. He was absolutely he was a way shower. Now, in terms of the pedophilia, this is one of those things that I think goes really, really deep. I think ultimately it's set upon the individual, because we all carry that ancestral conditioning, trauma, and everything. So it's on us to liberate ourselves. How it happened, who's to blame, none of that shit matters. Yeah. But I do think it runs really, really deep. I think it goes back thousands of years. I think it's about control. I think it's about secret fraternities. I think it's about initiations that included sex magic, and I've lived it, you know, in my memories. And so the thing is, I think the important thing is that each person, this sovereignty also includes self-responsibility. I can't blame you anymore. I can't blame the government. I can't blame the Illuminati, the Rothschilds. I can't blame the reptilians or the archons. I am a limitless divine human being. I have the ability to do anything. I can alchemize anything, you know, and that's where my focus needs to be. If I want to expand myself and contribute to the collective.
I agree. Yeah, I agree with that entirely. Yeah. But like I say, we live in exciting times and things are moving faster. There's a lot of exciting things to come.
I guess there was a documentary on Michael Jackson last night, from what people are saying here. Yeah. But yeah, you know, I mean, how do we know? I mean, I've said this before. My stepfather was in the CIA for 25 years. He was a high-level guy. He didn't share a lot, but he shared a little bit. I didn't even know what he was saying back then. But you know, there's no question that the programming was taken to the nth degree through what movies, what TV shows, what newspapers. They controlled it. And now, like you were saying earlier, with the internet, they've lost control of it. Because the mainstream media, it's all. But so I have to question anything that they publicize, you know, anything at all, you know. So I mean, but like I said, I think part of the reason that we're in this quantum phase now is because we're past the awakening. Like, we don't need to talk about the story anymore. We don't need to go get revenge. It's time to move on. It's time to move forward. But it's from us. So regardless of how bad you were traumatized, you know, whatever, it still has nothing to do with anyone else. It's all about me. It's all about myself. And I think we all want to expand ourselves in the collective, you know.
Very true.
You got any last comments?
No, I just think it's exciting times. I believe that we have turned a corner in history. And I talked about the commercialism in the New Age industry, and also a lot of people like the young second wavers. So I think we're turning a corner, and I just see nothing but positive. But I mean, the only thing I don't know is that can we turn a corner on global warming, and whether or not we'll actually have a planet to live on, or be transported to another M-class planet like Star Wars or Star Trek or whatever. So I don't know. So I think the future's exciting. The future's exciting. I think
Earth. See, I think that the part about the planet. Okay, I don't know. Because I think Earth is just like us. So there's a lot more to Earth than the physical matter. Yeah. You know, there's a lot more to Earth than the physical matter. So I think that if we have the ability to transform instantaneously, which I know we do. Just a matter of getting to that point. One person does it, then the rest of it will start to do it. Then this Earth does too. Yeah. You know. Yeah. But we're children of this Earth in some way, and so it's all connected. And she can't do it without us, and we can't do it without her. That's very true. Yeah. We're not complete without the universe, and the universe is not complete without us. So there you go with the the micro super.
I think the answer to everything is really what you're doing, Todd. Is we've just got to keep the information out there flowing, and we integrate, and we like an upward spiraling DNA, just like a holographic sort of coming together of collective.
Yes. Oh, his thing went off. I want to recognize a comment here by Patricia Satchwell. We are forgiving at a deeper level. Some of us have been abused too. We are not famous. It's just coming out to be dissolved. And I believe that's exactly, couldn't be said better.
Yeah, I agree. Yeah.
You heard that, what you said? Yeah, that was a very,
yeah.
So,
I agree.
That's really a profound statement, because it is that simple.
It is.
It's not that's why this stuff about the military tribunals and Q and Trump and China and Russia, and it's a distraction at this point. We know we're the focus.
Yeah.
We're the focus of all this the shell game and all this hide and seek stuff and non-disclosure. We're the focus of that. Why would they keep that stuff from us? Because of the infinite power that we are. That's it.
Yeah. I agree. I mean, none of that stuff bothers me from a day-to-day basis. I just do what I do. I mean, like that's you, right. we're sharing, and so it's up to us, and we are allowed to give ourselves permission to be that for everyone, and
absolutely.
for each other. Yeah.
So let's do this again, maybe next month. You want to do it again next month?
Sure. Yeah.
Let me see. We got. I just need to see who's up next. Oh, we got Fiona Carthu.
Yeah.
Is on in 50 minutes.
Yeah. I'm lovely to meet you. Love you and your partner, you and your wife, very, very much.
Thank you. Thank you.
Appreciate it.
I love her too. I can't wait till she gets back and get my hands on her.
All right.
Hey, we're putting an automated calendar together, so I'll send it to you. I think we got it ready last night, but I got to take a look at it.
Okay.
And you just pick a date. Okay.
Yeah.
See you later.
Okay.
Take care. Thank you.
Exciting times. Bye.
I enjoyed it very much.
Bye.
All right. We'll see y'all in 50 minutes.